Welcome back to the channel. We're here today and of course we're back talking about Wrexham Football Club. Today we have got a very interesting video that reading about this topic has got me really excited to obviously execute and produce this video. We're going to be looking today at the future plans for the racecourse ground. We're going to be looking at CEO Michael Williamson's interview that he did do with the leader. We're going to be dissecting it and just analysing everything he had to say about the future plans of the renovation of the racecourse ground in the next 9 to 10 years. We're going to be looking at the Kop stand, we're going to be looking at the updates regarding that. Everything is really free flowing at the minute and has gone at a really fast pace in the last couple of weeks or so. So we're going to be looking at that. And we're also going to be looking at a very interesting topic regarding a current Wrexham player possibly leaving the club to pursue a new career opportunity elsewhere. So that's going to be an interesting one. I've got plenty to talk about on that topic, and of course the topic that we are going to start off the video with, which of course is the Kop stand and the stadium news for Wrexham Football Club. But before we get into today's video, if you're looking for the best Wrexham AFC content, it's coming your way on YouTube. Make sure to get down there and click the red subscribe button. We're on the road to 28,000 subscribers. Any subscriptions are massively appreciated. Let's as well go for 400 likes on today's video. And without further ado, let's get taking a look at this interview. So we're going to just get straight into the headline. CEO Michael Williamson has named the final capacity for the racecourse ground as 32,000 as they continue to identify ways to increase the capacity of the racecourse ground, whilst also keeping the main priority on the redevelopment of the 7,500 seater Kop stand, which is set to be constructed and redeveloped within the next 9 to 10 months. So priority is obviously lying with the Kop stand, but now it's time for them behind the scenes to be looking at ways to improve the racecourse capacity as Wrexham aim for that historical Premier League promotion. So if we are looking at the interview with the Kop construction obviously well underway now, we've seen lots of work happening on the Kop site. It's definitely realistic for talks to obviously be held behind the scenes with a hierarchy at Wrexham Football Club to just be talking about how can they improve and develop the racecourse ground experience, how can they get more fans through the gate, how can they improve and increase gate receipts on match days by adding more seats into the racecourse ground with the 3 other stands. And Williamson stated that an 18,000 seater stadium is a good stepping stone when we talk about arriving in the Premier League. Now, in a crazy universe, in a parallel universe that Wrexham completely just go back to back this season to the Premier League, this would obviously leave us with the 18th biggest stadium in the Premier League. Now, for a team that was playing in the National League just 2 calendar years ago, I don't think it would be bad going. I think it's Brentford and Bournemouth, the other teams that would have a lower capacity than Wrexham. Obviously, if we were to jump up to the Premier League next season, we'd have the Kop stand up. It would be, like Williamson said, an 18,000 seater stadium, which again, once you get that Kop stand up, it goes from being the smallest in the Championship to not even the smallest in the Premier League. So it just does put emphasis on how big this Kop stand is going to be for the fans of Wrexham, for the football club, for the community, for the city of Wrexham. It's going to be a monumental moment when this Kop stand is up. And I think as well, something really interesting to note and to read into was that the Women's World Cup is also an aim for Wrexham and Wales on the whole to host the 2035 Women's World Cup. The objective is for the racecourse ground to be one of the host stadiums within the host nation to host obviously the 2035 Women's World Cup group stage and knockout stage games, and to also be consistently one of the homes for the men's national team for Wales. Of course, they currently play their games down in Cardiff City, which again, if you know Wales, Cardiff is down south. It's like the most southern point in South Wales you could get. So for the fans, even just mid and north Wales, it's a trek to get to whenever Wales do play. So having sort of that balance between having a home down south in Cardiff and having a home up north in the racecourse ground, we'll have an 18,000 capacity stadium. It sort of is a fortress, and I think that's something that Wales have made the Cardiff City Stadium over the years. They made it a real tough place to go, and I think Wales having the atmosphere is such a big boost and such a big sort of reason as to why Wales have, you could say, overachieved in the past couple of years, reaching the Euros, obviously reaching the 2022 World Cup. The atmosphere inside the ground is something that players massively buzzed off, and you look at the past couple of years, the racecourse ground, it's historical. It can make a really good noise, and once there's 7,500 Wales fans in the Kop stand, I'm sure it will just improve the players' performances and really give them that extra boost. So again, I think having that home up north for the men's team and obviously the 2035 World Cup is a massive, massive opportunity for Wrexham, not only as a football club to get that exposure, but for the community, for the town of Wrexham, for the tourism rates to just go completely through the roof, because it's such a big opportunity. Yes, it's 9 years away, but it is just such a massive opportunity, like I've just stated, for just Wrexham all round. But if we are looking further into the 2035 Women's World Cup, the requirement is that a stadium must have at least 23,000 seats for obviously a stadium to host a game in the Women's World Cup. Wrexham Football Club would have 9 years to increase the capacity by the racecourse ground for 5,000 seats. It's not been confirmed yet whether Wales is one of the host nations, but again, if you're looking at the minimum requirements, it's an extra 5,000. You could see that happening obviously in the Wrexham Lager stand, which I think has priority next after the Kop stand. So yes, would it speed up things in terms of getting work done quicker on other stands? It might do. Is it a priority for Wrexham after the Kop to completely go out and go helter-skelter on the Wrexham Lager, the Mould Road, the Tech End? I don't think so. I think if we were to go at such a fast pace, it wouldn't really do us many favours. So I think having the extra 5,000 seats over the span of 9 years is definitely possible, and I think it's definitely realistic in terms of it happening. So if we are looking at the other stands in the racecourse ground, what Williamson had to say on these is, although geographic restrictions are in place, he stated it's possible to redevelop both the Wrexham Lager and the Mould Road stand. He quoted, "I think on the Mould Road side, we have the ability to extend it. If you look at how the stand goes down, you actually lose seats there," which again is something that now he stated it, you notice it. It's not something you thought of when you're looking over at the Mould Road from the Tech End, but again, if he sees that as an obviously area to develop and get extra seats, then just go for it. And looking on the Wrexham Lager stand, we have the club shop out there, we have the parking grounds out there, but that's another area where we can look to add a concourse underneath and then build up above and add more seats out there. Again, he's just right, he's totally right when he's saying this. There's so much potential, I think, for the Wrexham Lager stand. Yes, you've got the block of university flats, but the car parks there, could they work on the car park? Obviously, when the Kop stand is up, there'll be loads of parking in the Kop stand, and they've obviously got sort of the two car parks after the Wrexham Lager stand. So I do think there is a massive potential to possibly build on the Wrexham Lager stand if, you know, they're willing to sacrifice that car park there. I think if they were to, they could do a lot to the Wrexham Lager stand. They could increase it by a substantial amount. I definitely think they could add a couple more thousand seats onto it, but again, it's being realistic in this sense. Would they be able to do it in, you know, the short amount of time for the World Cup? We really don't know. He also said a touch up on the Tech End will hopefully finalise the 32,000 seater dream at the racecourse ground. So on the whole, for the Kop redevelopment, for the stadium plans for the next, you could say 7, 8, maybe 9 years, it's good to hear that the plans are being spoken about, being drawn up, and I think it's all dependent on how eager Wrexham are and how eager the hierarchy at the football club is to increase the capacity by, again, you're going to say a substantial amount. If they're looking at 32,000, it's adding another 20,000 seats inside the racecourse ground. So if they do want that to happen in the next 7, 8 years, then it's going to be a massive ask. There's going to be work probably done every single day at the racecourse ground for the next 7, 8 years if you are looking to increase it by, you know, the 32,000 they do want it to be. And if Wales is going to be one of the host nations for the Women's World Cup, and again, it's dependent on how quickly they want the Wales national team to get to the racecourse ground to play those Euro World Cup qualifiers friendlies, then things might possibly speed up quicker than anticipated. The process of getting the racecourse ground to a higher capacity again might be quicker than fans might expect, but for now there's no finalised date, and I think the main priority and the main excitement should stay on the Kop stand. But again, don't get me wrong, we can get rightly excited by this. Michael Williamson is a well-renowned CEO. He's worked at Inter Milan, he's worked at some very big higher up organisations, so hearing those words come from his mouth, I think is definitely a guarantee that we are going to see those things happen at some point, whether it's in the next 6, maybe 7 or 10 years. We really don't know at the minute, but again, it's just so exciting to hear the future of this football club and the hands that it does lie in, because again, we've got a right to be excited about the future. So moving away from the Kop stand and moving away from the stadium redevelopment to Wrexham, this is a really important topic and a really sort of interesting topic that a few of you at home I think will be very interested in. We're going to be talking about Conor Coady. Now, multiple reports have come out in the past week or so saying that Wolves have made an approach to defender Conor Coady to become an official coach at the club, Wolverhampton Wanderers, following the arrival of new manager Rob Edwards. It's not really the news that Wrexham fans expected to hear mid-November. I'm not saying it's the news that we don't want to hear, but it's just out of the blue. It's completely just blown us away because we didn't expect this to happen. Of course, Conor Coady signed in the summer, signed in July on a 2-year deal. He's on a reported £30,000 a week, signing for a £2 million fee. To then hear this news a couple of months into his contract that he could be moving on as a coach at 32 years old. We didn't expect it, but here we are. It's a very interesting topic that we are going to be talking about. What I would say at this moment in time, I think a couple of sources have said it, and me being obviously a Wrexham fan watching the club week in, week out, and I do think at this moment it remains unlikely that Conor Coady is going to make a really quick career switch, of course, midway through the season and midway through a contract at Wrexham where he's been at the football club for a couple of months. He's probably not even fully settled in yet. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but again, he's only been here a couple of months. Yes, he's local to the area, but it's a new club, it's a new environment, new manager. I don't expect to see a player just completely walk away a couple of months into a 2-year contract, but again, there's pros and cons for both parties, for Conor Coady, for Wrexham, for Wolves. There is a lot of pros and cons which we are going to be talking about in this potential career switch for Conor Coady. And if we are looking at the pros first, we're looking at £450,000 being saved in player wages if there is a mutual agreement to end the contract of Conor Coady at Wrexham, which again, if we're looking at the reported, I think it's between £20,000 and £30,000 a week that he's on at Wrexham. Again, it's a realistic approach that Wolves have made to Conor Coady, and it's a realistic switch in careers that he could have. So he'd have that obviously career switch lined up already after he's ripped up his contract at Wrexham, which again I think sort of points towards it possibly happening, because you know, a player just wouldn't rip up his contract, and if he's got nothing lined up in the future, it'd be a bit pointless. You hear players, you know, running up their contracts. Yes, it's not great on the player side, it's not great on the club side, but again, who can blame them when they're on a really good chunk of money a week? So it frees up a place in the squad for Wrexham as well. Conor Coady, he had a good start to the season. We'll get talking about it more in depth, but if you're looking at this, if he does free up a place in the squad, it allows us to possibly reinvest that money in January to get an extra defender in all across the whole of the pitch, because I can't see Conor Coady breaking into the team anytime soon. If we're looking at another pro personnel wise for Conor Coady, we've seen him, he's got a heavy presence on television, on Sky Sports. He's been on a whole host of podcasts. Leicester fans have called him a podcast merchant when he left the club, so he clearly loves the airtime on the TV. So taking up the coaching role at Wolverhampton Wanderers might allow him more opportunities, flexibility to go down that presenting route. When he does retire, of course, he would have that coaching role at Wolverhampton Wanderers, but again, it wouldn't be as demanding as being a player in the Championship. So, you know, to have two career paths and avenues to go down, presenting and coaching, is only going to do him the world of good. And if he sees more benefits coming out of that than staying at Wrexham for an extra 2 years, when, you know, he might not get that opportunity to be a coach in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, once Conor Coady hangs up the boots, he's no doubtedly going to be a coach. He's got that player IQ, he's got the knowledge of the game. If he's not going to be a coach, he's going to be a defensive coach, he's going to be a pundit 100%. He's just, you know, got that footballing knowledge to be a coach or be a pundit, and if this allows him to be both at the same time, will he be looking at this and licking his lips? I definitely do think he'll be contemplating what to do in this situation. But if we are looking at the cons of this, it's going to be the biggest £2 million wasted in this club's history that I think we'll ever see over the next couple of years, because I've got a lot of respect for Cody, don't get me wrong, I've got a lot of respect for what he's achieved in his career, promotions to the Premier League, you know, going to the World Cup with England, playing in the World Cup, you know, he's a highly respected defender at all the clubs he's been at. But if we're looking solely in a Wrexham shirt, this isn't about his past, it's about the present for Conor Coady, what he has to offer to this Wrexham team. His reliability has been questioned by a lot of fans already. Like I said, we're not even into December now. Southampton, I thought he started really well. You'll see it back in my videos. I was like really happy with the performance of Conor Coady against Southampton. I thought he was good, he was demanding, he was obviously telling the defenders who were playing, I think it was Brunt and Max at the time, you could see him really just demanding them, and they looked really comfortable. But ever since then, he's been the heart of the defence, a leaky defence we could say, in those opening games of the Championship season. I've got on my notes 12 goals we conceded in 6 games when Conor Coady has started, most recently being Cardiff City in the Carabao Cup, which I don't think I spoke about on the channel, but if you look at the first 30-35 minutes, we were getting destroyed. Defensively, we were poor, and I'm not saying this is all on Conor Coady, but if you're looking at a player of his experience, his quality, he's the player that is playing in that centre-back role. we were just getting massively exposed, and we've seen it personnel-wise for Conor Coady. He has been exposed so far for Wrexham this season, and he's been replaced, and I cannot see him getting back into the starting 11 anytime soon. But again, a con of this is if a Premier League club in Wolverhampton Wanderers, a big historic club, are seeing qualities in Conor Coady that are that of a higher standard and that of a Premier League coach, then it's potentially going to be quite a big loss off the field for Wrexham in that sense. He's apparently helped on the coaching side briefly for Wrexham this season when we played Leicester City away. Of course, being at them for the past couple of years, he helped on the coaching side. So should Wrexham be looking at this thinking, if he wants to hang up the boots now, if he thinks it's time for retirement, should we surely get sort of that first opportunity to offer him a role in the coaching department? Could we see that? We really don't know. Would we see that as a loss if he is to go to a Premier League club? And who knows, you never know in football. He could go on to do bigger and better things, be a good manager. So should we try and get first dibs on Cody as a coach? Or, you know, again, it's down to Phil Parkinson whether he wants him on the coaching team or not. Again, going down that kind of route, it's quite obvious, but you lose his experience in the changing room, which, again, that's experience that is really, really big for a team like Wrexham, who have obviously had a lot of young players come into the club over the past couple of years. Been in the Premier League, been in the World Cup, played in Europe. He might not play a lot this season from now on in a Wrexham shirt, but I'm sure his leadership qualities are valued a lot by others in the squad. It's a sense that you need to either sacrifice this, obviously the experience and the leadership qualities that he brings to the changing room, or you want him off the wage bill, you save £450,000. Yes, you take the hit on the £2 million, but you obviously regain that £450,000. I don't know if compensation fees come in for players when terminating a contract. I don't think they do. I think that's just for managers. But again, it's a loss either way because it's £2 million for him to possibly leave the club a few months into his contract. This was like a week ago now. We've not really heard anything since this situation with Conor Coady. I'm not sure what the developments are in this. Of course, Rob Edwards seems keen to get him into the coaching role and the coaching team at Wolves. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Would you be that bothered if you saw Conor Coady leave as a coach? Are you looking at this from a financial point of view? We've made a massive loss. Are you looking at this from a coaching point of view? Should Wrexham be doing everything they can to keep him on the coaching team? Like I said, this is a topic that I would just love to hear your thoughts on. And if we're going on to player-wise, Issa Kabore, unfortunate news, really unfortunate news regarding Kabore. Parky has confirmed he will be ruled out for 6 weeks after sustaining a hamstring injury on international duty for Burkina Faso. This is a massive miss, especially at this stage in the season. I cannot stress it enough. Losing a player like Kabore at this stage of the season, going into the December period, 6 weeks, you think, yeah, with the international breaks, you're looking at 3 or 4 matches. He's going to miss a minimum of 9 games, 9 league games for Wrexham. That's providing if he's back on New Year's Day. If he's not back on New Year's Day, it'll be 10. It could go to 11. It could go to more. It's really disappointing news because, you know, he's been one of our key players over the past couple of weeks, and you're looking at Barnett. I've no issue at all with Barnett coming in. I think it's a good opportunity for him to show what it's all about. We've seen it last season in League One. I'm sure he'll be wanting that opportunity already when he's seen how well Kabore's been doing. I'm sure he's itching on the subs bench to go on and make an impact. So this is his moment to shine. We've got a lot of big games coming up, but losing a player like Kabore for those games is just a massive, massive hit to the squad. In a more positive light, ending off the video, Nathan Broadhead scored yet again in a Wales shirt in our 7-1 triumph over North Macedonia to secure a home playoff game for Wales in the semi-final to reach the World Cup in North America. We've got Bosnia at home in the semi-final, and then the winner of that plays either Northern Ireland or Italy. So yeah, we don't know on that sense, but again, you never get bored of seeing a Wrexham player score for their country. We've seen it on multiple different occasions over the past couple of months with Kiefer Moore and Nathan Broadhead. So again, it's a moment that we've cherished and a moment that we've dreamed of for years and years now. So it's good to see Broadhead get back on the score sheet. So that is it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like, make sure to get down there and click the red subscribe button as well. Like I said, we're on the road to 28,000 subscribers. All your support is massively appreciated. I hope everyone watching these videos are well. Of course, it's like one video a week now. It's not the greatest, I know it's not, but I try to bring as much content to your screens as I can. It's for hard balancing university work and obviously bringing content, but again, I do my best, and I hope you have been enjoying the videos since I obviously have moved to university. Until the next one, take care guys, up the Championship Reds.